Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting of the Horn Lake Board of Aldermen to order. As always, good government depends on the citizens being involved, so we certainly thank you for coming out tonight. At this time, I'd like to call on Alderman Bostic for our invocation, please, sir.
Let us pray. Father, we just thank you for this opportunity that we have to serve the city of Horn Lake. We just ask you to watch over through our decisions that we make this evening, Father Lord, that it be pleasing to you. Be with everyone here tonight, each family representative, and just continue to watch over our community. In your name we ask. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Would you please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States, led by Alderman Young.
And salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. All right. Mr. Jim, could you do the roll call for us, please, sir?
Alderman Klein. Here. Alderman Bledsoe.
Here.
Alderman Geis.
Here.
Alderman Bostic.
Here.
Alderman Johnson. Alderman Johnson. Alderman Johnson again.
Here.
Alderman Dupree. Here. Alderman Young.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. Number one on the agenda is the municipal docket. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
I make a motion to approve the municipal docket.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second? Second by Alderman Bledsoe. Do we have any discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Jim.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Aye. Alderman Klein.
Aye. Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Number two on the agenda is the consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Bostic.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda items B through G and move item A to executive session for a discussion.
Do we have a second to the motion by Alderman Bostic?
I'll second, Mayor.
Second by Alderman Dupree. Is there any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Aye. Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Number three on the agenda is the claims docket. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
make a motion to approve the claims docket. General fund, $204,016.34. The bond funded cap project expense, $12,500. The library fund, $3,257.96. The economic development fund, $3,575. The utility fund, $54,596.83, for a total docket of $277,946.13.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second?
Mayor. Second.
Second by Alderman Young. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please, sir.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Aye. Alderman Klein.
Aye. Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Moving down to number 4, special gifts and presentations. SPOA Animal Shelter Advisors. Anyone present representing that group?
Yes, I'm on Zoom.
All right, yes, sir.
Yes, I'm Michael Barnard. Can I share my screen?
Yes, sir.
says screen sharing disabled by hosts.
Hey, John Mark.
Alderman Geis, while they're waiting, did you have any remarks? that you wanted-
Yes, sir. As we're all aware, our shelter is woefully inadequate and old and way too small. I had reached out to this group who they specialize in working with cities to come up with the best animal shelter for that area. And they had sent us a proposal a while back. And I asked them if they would come today and do a presentation and explain what they do so we can make an informed decision on deciding what to do with that proposal.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone else have a comment or a question while are we ready to go?
Did my screen come up on your end?
Yes, it did.
You got to love virtual meetings, and sometimes you just don't. Anyway, thank you so much for having me this evening. We're going to do a little bit of self-promotion, tell you about Animal Shelter or Shelter Planners of America, but then just talk a little bit about, what are current modern animal shelter design goals, show you some samples of projects, but mostly talk about the process, which was just alluded to. So we are the most experienced animal shelter design firm in the nation. We have over 30 years experience. We've worked with over 750 different animal shelter groups, and over half of those are cities or counties, government animal control facilities, which is a little bit different than a Humane Society or SPCA. We're the only firm that has actual animal shelter operation experience, and we do specialize in fitting the project to your particular community. Animal welfare is not homogeneous across the country, and what works in one community doesn't necessarily fit in all communities. So we try to sort all that out and bring you what's best for you. And we did create all the new generation design concepts that are out there over the past several years. This is a map showing just the most recent 250 projects we've worked on. It's not every state, but I think there's about 35 different states represented there. Myself, I'm a registered architect with 44 years of experience. I do also hold an animal control certification and hundreds of hours of animal welfare training. Our founder, Bill Mead, has worked for Humane Society of the United States for about 11 years, designing shelters all around the United States. Plus, he operated 4 different animal shelters, both as executive director, president, and both privately owned and animal control facilities. And Dr. Jed Ford is our veterinary consultant. He keeps us aware of the growing trends in disease control and things of that nature. Obviously, animal shelter design has evolved a lot over the years. Back, in the day, in the 40s, it was about rabies control, and these places were usually out by the sewage treatment plant or the city dump, and they were dark, damp, loud, not really places you want to go to. And Bill Mead, our founder, starting in the 70s and up through the 80s, and really all the way till now, we continue to be on the cutting edge of new developments in animal welfare. Just some of the goals: we want to bring the best practices in humane animal care into the design for the facility. We want to reduce stress in the animals through better separation, comfortable kenneling, natural light, soundproofing. Disease control is paramount. It's really critical to have proper medical isolation areas and quarantine, obviously for rabies, but enhanced HVAC systems to isolate those diseases, and then proper cleaning facilities and things of that nature. This one surprises people. We really like the shelter to be a more warm and welcoming place to visit, not just an industrial warehouse with animals lined up, but someplace that people come to and they feel good about being there. So nice colors, natural light, good soundproofing, some landscaping, things of that nature. We really want it to be more of a destination so that they tell their friends about, oh, you've got to see the new shelter. And then just increased socialization between animals and humans. You get acquainted rooms, cat community rooms where you can go into the room, different kind of outdoor get acquainted yards and things like that. And then we think that the shelter is a good place to introduce a focus on education and prevention. Humane Society of the United States has said for nearly 20 years that the way we're going to overcome our animal overpopulation problem in the United States is through education, sterilization, and legislation. And so those are important for modern sheltering. And then last but not least, a pleasant and effective place for the staff. Staff turnover in shelters is high. Training new staff is expensive. And we found that you don't have to spend a lot of money to have just thought carefully about the staff. Where do they park? Where do they come in? Where's a locker, toilets? Do they have the right equipment and things that it takes to take care of the animals, efficiently and effectively. Just showing you some pictures of other shelters. We could show hundreds of these, but I was asked to kind of limit this time-wise. So these are some in Texas, Missouri, Virginia, Indiana, one in Utah, another one in Virginia, a couple on the bottom here in California, some in Ohio, a small community in Texas, Universal City, that's a suburb of San Antonio, Duluth, Minnesota, North Carolina, South Carolina, Arizona. The one in the lower left is just recently opened. That's the new Harris County. That's Houston, Texas. Population 1.8 million people being served by this shelter at 60,000 square feet. I think it was $25 million. So we work on them that are very large and quite elaborate. And then this Brown County in the lower right, Indiana, is just south of Indianapolis. It's a suburb type of a arrangement, and it's a very small community. And that just opened here this last summer, so it's much smaller. And I did just want to mention this, and I'm sorry I don't have any pictures of this, but this is Cleveland, Mississippi, where I did a needs assessment and conceptual design for them some time ago. And now we've done full design, structural drawings, mechanical drawings for their new addition, and it's under construction. It's about halfway through the construction period. And we're also working on Vicksburg, Mississippi. We've completed the needs assessment and conceptual design, and they just voted really just the end of December to start on what we call step 3, which is that construction documents and everything it takes to build a building. And that's mostly what I want to talk to you about this evening, is our process, because it is unique. We call it our 3-step process. Step 1 is a needs assessment study. So this is a written report. We come there, we tour your existing shelter, we meet with your staff and key people. We have a questionnaire of nearly 200 things that we ask that help us to understand who your community is and develop a building space program. The report talks about animal levels and human population. We look at it holistically because, having the right amount of staff and having the operating costs to operate the proposed building, of course, is important. They all 3 go hand in hand. And then, of course, the all-important opinion of probable cost, because usually people want to know, well, what is this thing going to cost? So that needs assessment study is that step 1. We'll have different kinds of meetings. We can do public meetings if you need to, reach out to the public and get input. We can do just individual one-on-one with your staff, or, if you need to have us meet with certain people within the community. maybe key citizens or whatever is unique to your community will set up those meetings. This is a sample of the building space program. I mentioned that. It's probably the centerpiece of the needs assessment. It's a list of every room in the building. How many of those rooms do you need? What's the square footage of those rooms? And then what are the features in that room? You get a grand total of the square footage of the building. This one happens to be in New York City, Bronx, and was 31,000 square feet, but I suspect your project will be much smaller. But it will list not only the net square footage, but the gross square footage. So wall thicknesses, corridors, unassigned spaces. So we can get the total square footage. That's how we are able to help determine the opinion of probable cost for your project. We do have a fairly robust algorithm that's our proprietary software that we developed, where we look at human population for your area in the past, and then where is it going? Is your population growing? Is it declining? There are places in the country population is declining, and other places it's growing quite rapidly. And then what is your animal intake as a ratio of human population? And so we try to track that, and we look at a 20-year planning horizon to try to zero in on what's best for your community. Then when we get to step 2 is more, a design exercise. We usually do a site plan and a floor plan. This is a sample of a site plan. Now, this was an existing building with an addition, but on the left, you'll see it starts out kind of freehand, loose, exploring ideas. And then on the right, it's more of a CAD drawn, very straight line to scale. And then we do the same thing with the floor plan. We develop the floor plan. It shows all the rooms, the layout, the hallways, doors, windows, cabinetry. It's fairly detailed for conceptual design. Again, it starts kind of loose and fluid, but then tightens up into a CAD drawing drawn architecturally to scale. And then, of course, we can put color on it if you want for, presentations to citizens or that type of thing. And then as an additional service, we can do 3-dimensional color renderings of what it wants to look like. Some cities say we don't need that. Others say we absolutely need that. So we list that as kind of an optional service. Those are steps 1 and 2. Step 3 is really the traditional thing that you think about. Well, I'm going to hire an architect and build a building. So you got your structural engineer, mechanical engineer, civil engineer, construction drawings, building permits, bids for contractors and things of that nature. So that's step 3. We just find that most cities, they just can't jump straight to step 3. Hey, let's hire an architect, build a building. We find with animal shelters, we need to go through these a little bit more of a process so that everybody can get comfortable with what is needed and how are we going to solve that. And so with that, that'll be kind of the end of the formal presentation. I hope that was fast enough. I know it was a lot of information in a really short period of time, but glad to answer any questions that you might have at this time. As was mentioned, we've sent a proposal for step 1 and 2, and if you're interested, we can meet privately to, discuss any of the details of it.
Does anyone have any questions or comments?
Mayor,
Alderman Young.
is it Mr. Bernard? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure I had that right. Are there any? I know you said Cleveland and a couple other locations. Are there any in the Mid-South where we could go look at and review, or anything that you worked on?
Well, actually, we get that question a lot, and they're all over the United States. So we found that the best way to do that is we went to the sites ourselves. We bought a kind of an expensive 3D camera and set it up, and it's sort of like a videotape of these projects. And so you can actually go to our website and take a virtual tour of several, and from the comfort of your home. But Springdale, Arkansas comes to mind. It's on there. Montgomery County, Virginia is on there. Shelby County, Ohio is on there. Brown County, Indiana is on there. Sedona, Arizona is on there. I think there's about 10 or maybe more than that now. I'm sorry, I don't actually know that number, but you can learn a lot about modern animal shelter just by tooling around on the website. Or certainly you can go to any of these. We've flown client. There are places in the United States to tour shelters, but this new process we've got lets you do that a lot more efficiently.
Okay, so there's nothing locally that we can go look at?
Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Probably,
But there is
yeah.
Deanville.
Cleveland's under construction.
Right.
One that's about to open is Williamson County, Tennessee. I'm not sure how far. That's the county immediately south of Nashville.
Right.
Now it's a 30,000 square feet, $14 million building, but it might not be very relevant to, what might make sense in your community. We opened one just last year in Chattanooga. That might be a little bit closer to you guys, but it's also 35,000 square feet, quite large. So as far as close by, I think probably Springdale is about as close. It's pretty new. It's got most of the modern features. I think it's about 12,000 square feet. So it's still probably quite a bit bigger than what you might do.
When's the ribbon cutting date, do you feel, on Cleveland?
I just asked our construction guy about that, and I called the city clerk today. They're about halfway done, so I think it's another about 6 months.
Okay. Thank you.
And they were going to build a new building, but the budget with what it was, we ended up doing an addition. We did a new building for all their dog housing in a fresh new building, and then we tore out all their old crappy dog housing, which was really awful, and are putting in a Sally Port cat housing. They had no place in their old shelter for cats at all, and so we've set up cat community rooms and cats with nice 2-compartment housing, modern housing, intake facility, and a lot of things in their existing building, and then just kind of freshen it up because the front was pretty tired. But it's what they could afford, and it meets their functional needs as far as how many animals they receive and things like that. So you could contact Alderman Danny Abraham, who's the alderman that we worked with, but Dominic Green is the city clerk that's kind of managing the day-to-day stuff.
How big is the one gonna be at Cleveland, sir?
So
How many dogs will it house?
I'm sorry, I don't have that number off the top of my head. It's probably 20 or 30. It's not a big facility, but the total square footage is about 9,500 square feet.
Yes, sir. Does anyone else have any questions or comments?
I have one.
Alderman Geis.
In the information you gave us a few months ago, or is that pricing still accurate on the?
Yes, sir. We haven't had a price increase in 8 years.
Okay, thank you.
Your proposal is still good.
Thank you.
And we sent you that qualification statement that if anybody wanted to look at that, it's got, lots of other projects, and plus it spells out in the back in pretty good detail those steps. But the steps are written out in the proposal. And just FYI, our proposal for these step 1 and 2 services, it's not a complicated legalese type of a document. It's about a 4-page letter form of agreement written in plain English that, regular folks can read and understand. It covers, exactly what we're going to do, what you have to provide, has a timetable in there, how long it takes to do the services. So it pretty much covers everything that you'd want to know, but in a pretty easy to read method.
Anyone else? Sir, you were talking about the one that was at Cleveland, probably take about 20 or 30 dogs, and it's 9,000 square feet. Is that the ratio that usually works for this? In other words, if we had 60 dogs, we should figure a 10,000 square foot building or a 12,000 square foot building?
No, sir, we have not been able to find a rule of thumb that I could quote you and say, yeah, that's your ratio. It has a lot to do with your programs and your community. And I'm sorry, it's just not that easy. I can tell you this, we recommend 2-compartment housing for dogs. That is, each dog has 2 spaces. Their primary enclosure where their food, bedding, and water is located. And then a secondary compartment where they can go and eliminate, go poo, away from their primary enclosure. This is a natural instinct of theirs. And that lets you move the animal someplace safe while you clean with disinfectants and chemicals and things. So that being said, it's about 100 square feet per dog, gross. So the net area plus the hallway, the exterior wall thickness, that type of thing. But then by the time you add all the support spaces, animal kitchen, cleaning equipment, laundry, we're gonna have commercial laundry. That equipment's a lot bigger. It takes more square feet. What are we doing in the way of cat housing? Are we doing cats? There are places that they don't have many cat intake, and others, because they take a lot less square footage. So nationally, it's about 50-50, but we have seen places where it's more like 60-40, 60% dogs, 40% cats. So that takes more square footage. But we've also seen it where it's 60-40 the other way. It's 60% cats and 40% dogs. So their square footage ends up being different. So, and if you have an education program, a big meeting room, if you have a veterinary clinic on site, there's so many variables. I'm sorry, sir, I just don't have a way to quickly tell you it's going to be this square foot or that square foot.
Well, I thank you for that information. I appreciate it very much. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Anyone? Alderman Geis, did you have any? I couldn't tell whether you wanted to say something or not.
I just wanted to say something on this. We've been needing one for a while, and for years we've made do with what we could build and do ourselves. And we've made some big changes in the last 4 years there. Our intake's increasing quite a bit, and I just think it's time that we started working toward getting one that the city could be proud of and that will serve our community for years to come. And that's what I was wanting to do with this, and get the ball rolling.
And I'm certain the members of the board and the community, in addition to a first-class facility, are concerned about the treatment and the care of animals, which is a wonderful thing. Did anyone want to make a motion tonight? Did you want to table it, or?
Mayor.
Alderman Geis.
A while back, we got some funding from the federal government, and I had mentioned then, we have to spend that money on certain projects, but we were told we could spend the interest on that we accumulated off of that on anything we wanted. And I would like to use that interest that we've accumulated on that to start phase 1 on this, for us to be able to go out, try to raise funds, get grants, or whatever we need to do to build this. We kind of have to have an idea of what we're going to build, how much it's going to cost, and what it's going to look like, so we can go out there and beg and borrow to get the funding to be able to build this. So I think it would be a good time, no time like the present, to get started.
Is that a motion, sir? Or?
Yes, sir. I make a motion that we start phase 1.
I'll second that, Mayor.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis. We have a second by Alderman Dupree. Is there any discussion?
Mayor, are we going to be looking for other bids besides just what this gentleman's offering? I mean, there's other companies out there that do that. Is that gonna be in this, are we going with this gentleman, or who are we going with, or are we looking at how much we're spending, or are there any more bids on this?
Alderman Geist, I'm totally in the dark on what companies do this.
From my research, there was only a couple that did. There's lots of architecture firms, building companies, things like that, but not a lot that specialize in just designing shelters. And this one had the best reviews that I saw and the most details and all that. Of course, I would think any contract would have to be reviewed by our city attorney and all of that. But
Do you know who built our last shelter?
we did,
The city did that?
yeah, yes. And
So
the
we
one
could build it.
before that, the city built it.
We could build another one, is what it's, well, okay.
I would, having been in both of those shelters, I think the issue with both is they were not built by people that knew how to build a proper shelter. You've been in there, you've seen.
Several times.
Yeah, and the smell,
Absolutely, I
the
agree, yeah.
disease. So I think.
The debate's not whether we need one, we definitely gotta have one, that's not the debate. I'm just looking at, I mean, where we're at, we got plenty of land down there, I mean, we just need to look at other options. I don't have a problem moving into phase one, but we just need to look at all our options, and we just.
Yes, and that's what, they aren't gonna build it. They're gonna design it for us, and work on all those things and help us find people that can actually properly build it. Part of that process will be looking at land. I've talked to Mr. Robinson a few times about different options on land that the city already owns and some others that were offered to be donated and all those things. So all the things that you're referring to would be part of this. And I would also, there's a second motion I want to make after this one on something else.
All right, so you have your motion.
Yes, sir.
And you have your second. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
Go.
Right.
Alderman Boston.
In that proposal that he gave us a few months back, is all the cost in there?
Yeah, yes,
of
sir.
what he would charge to do phase one?
Yes.
And Jim, do we have the funds and the interest or whatever we've accumulated to take care of this?
We have about a little over 10,000 in interest so far from
And I
those
couldn't
funds.
remember what his price was on that phase one.
That covers.
That covers it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, step one, if I'm reading it right, is 6,500.
Plus some reimbursable expense.
Yeah, any
I
travel.
couldn't hear what,
Any reimbursable expenses, travel
Travel.
expenses to come down here and
Did-
do all that.
We
Yes,
can
sir.
take pictures and send it
wait,
to
wait, who's speaking? I don't know. All right. If not, does anybody else have any questions or comments? I've got one. Your fee here, sir, is based on a 5,000 square foot building. If you
That's
come
right.
down here and say we need a 12,000 square foot building, then if I'm interpreting this correctly, it's gonna cost us more than the 5,000 plus the reimbursable expenses. Is that correct?
Well, for step two, the conceptual design, there is an added fee of 70 cents per square foot if the building is bigger. But on the needs assessment, step one, we don't. It's a flat fee.
Okay, so if you came down here and we said, and you decided we needed a 12,000 square foot facility, it's still gonna be $6,500 plus your reimbursable expenses. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, I just wanted to clear that up with it. I don't have any more questions. Does anyone else? If not, Mr. Robinson, would you do the roll call, please, sir?
Yes, Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree. Aye. Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. All right,
Mayor,
sir.
I had a second. I don't know if
Oh,
this
I'm
needs-
sorry. That's right, you did say that. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I don't know if this requires a motion. I think we need to form a committee, an animal shelter committee, for us to be able to come up with a game plan and meet with the people and all that. If,
You mean after they turn in their,
yes, sir. You know, a shelter committee. An
y'all would
ad
need
hoc-
to meet
an
with
ad
them
hoc
when they
committee.
came.
Yes, sir.
And that didn't require a motion, does it, Mr. Billy?
No, sir, Mr. Mayor, and that kind of goes back to the discussion we've had about committees in the
Yes, sir.
past. You know, it'd probably be preferable if you don't make a motion to establish a formal committee, but just solicit volunteers to serve on an informal committee.
Okay.
Well, I think 3 would be the number. Do we have any volunteers? Alderman Geis,
You got two down
Alderman
there.
Young, Alderman Dupree,
And of course, the animal shelter director.
and the Animal Shelter Director. Okay, there we go. All right, number 5, planning, Nicole Place.
Thank you, Mr.
I
Mott.
will sign off. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chad.
Mayor.
Alderman Johnson.
Alderman Johnson.
I apologize for just now saying something. I was just thinking, would it be wise to add a community member as well that frequents the shelter now to be able to give us some input from the community on that committee?
Yes, sir.
That would be fine. We can put it on the website and ask for volunteers. Will we be
Yes.
stretching that about having to keep minutes and all? Okay. Good idea. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
All right, number 5, planning. Case number 1952, Nicole Place, Section E, final plat. Mr. Chad, it's yours.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Aldermen and Alderwomen. Chad Barr, Planning Director, on this particular item. Yes, it's case number 1952. It'd be a subdivision final plat for Nicole Place, Section E. Before we get into it too much, I have one page to pass out. It was furnished from minutes from August 4th, 2020 meeting of the Aldermen on this particular subdivision. Let me pass that out so you have something to look at as I speak.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chad.
How you doing? Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that. Yes, what's before you tonight is the subdivision final plat for Nicole Place, Section E. It consists of 69 lots and about 33.7 acres located in the southwest part of Horn Lake. It was originally taken up as a final plat in June of 2020. It was subsequently tabled to July, but it was taken up in August of 2020, and that's what I've supplied to you that I wanted you to have before you as far as what was the approved motion back from that time. I believe the developer is present, Mr. Reiner, on the subdivision, if you have any questions for him. But going back to the August 4th of 2020, there was, in the motion, there was, the motion that was approved was to relocate some of the lots So there was some more alignment with existing development patterns in the Nicole Place, other phases or sections. And there was some wording there about fencing as well. So that's what I have as of to date that's before you. As the memo, I wrote a memo dated January the 14th. Most of the lots run between 10,500 square feet, and there's the largest one of about 29,800 square feet, with most of them running between 11,000 and 19,000 square feet. The existing zoning is PUD, which is a planned unit development, which some of those items are taken from the zoning ordinance, and then some are more of a custom feature, which is common of a PUD. So that would be my presentation, unless anybody would have some questions.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Chad?
Mayor.
Alderman Geis.
At the top of the paperwork you gave us, Alderman Jones had requested some changes there. Is that reflected in what we'll be approving?
Yes, I believe that has been accomplished. I don't know exactly what it looked like beforehand due to the time frame that this was considered. But at least from what I've been able to piece together, it looks like as far as what was requested by Alderman Jones at that time, as far as moving some of the lots around to match better with some of the existing already platted lots from other parts of Nicole Place, looks like that's been accomplished.
Anyone else have any questions for Mr. Chad? Alderman Bledsoe.
Do you know what would be the square footage of the houses?
Yes, that is in the PUD itself. If I can read the fine print. Yes, for section E, if it's an 11,000 square foot lot, then the minimum home size as far as heated space is 1,300 square feet. And then for the larger lots, it's a minimum home size of 1,400 square feet heated space. All homes shall have a 2-car garage.
Anyone else?
Mayor.
Hey, Mr. Bob, let me just ask him a question first. I've got here on this, in the packet, it says the final plat of section E. And Mr. Bob did swap and put the larger lots up toward the front and on the east side. Is that correct? I'm looking at it correctly? Am I?
Yes, it looks like that.
So he did do
Yeah.
what was in the board order to approve the subdivision plan. So has that already been done? Correct. All right, sir. Did anyone else have any questions for Mr. Chan? Would y'all like to hear from Mr. Bob? Alderman Young.
So the only thing that we're looking at here is we're just looking at this fence being agreed to. We're not looking at anything else. Is that what I'm understanding?
My understanding is that, because basically it looks like the subdivision was approved in concept at the time with those changes, meaning the repositioning of the lots and then also the fencing as well. I haven't been able to confirm anything on the fencing issue. I think that would be a question for the developer. But it does appear that the lots, as far as repositioning them within the Nicole Section E, has been accomplished.
Okay. Do we have sidewalks and 30-foot streets?
That'd be a question for the developer. I do not know.
So what you're asking in this memo you gave us is you cannot find any reconsideration of the subdivision. Is that correct?
Well, I was looking mainly for an agenda item, and so in all the agenda items, I look back going to the middle of 2020. I couldn't see that. Now, Mr. Campbell, the city's legal counsel, did furnish me the page that I passed out to you. He did find minutes from that August 4th, 2020 meeting where this was discussed as far as the repositioning of some of the lots and that sort of thing. That's why I wanted to pass that out to you tonight so that you were aware of that. Because now that was not a part of the packet that you would have received on Friday.
Yes, sir. So it was approved by the board.
It was, Mayor, but as you can see above the board order as well as in the board order, the final plat incorporating those revisions was to be presented to the board for approval, and that's what we're here for tonight.
Yes, sir,
That
just to approve the final plat.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Anybody else have any questions? Mr. Bob, can you come down, please, sir?
I got a question, Mayor.
Alderman Dupree.
The recent subdivisions that we've been approving, the square footage of the homes have been, what, 1,800?
That's what I want to address. We're doing 2,000 to 2,200.
Okay, thank you for addressing that, because 1,300 is just way too small.
The builders in there are all my kids, so they got to listen to me.
All right, that's great. I do have a question about the fencing. The subdivision to the east of your,
Correct,
they have a pond back there.
correct.
And is that pond going to be blocked off because it's on their property? I'm just thinking about a kid coming over there and something happened to the child. And then it's going to go back on that homeowner who has no control over that.
Well, here's what happens. As the builders build, they have to put a fence up across the back. That's what we agreed on. So there will be a fence all the way across the back, but we're putting it up as they build the houses. They're going to put up the fence.
Okay, my concern was not having a fence there. Now, will there be a gate on the back side of that fence?
No.
Okay, you see where I'm going with this, because I don't want some child to go over there and get
I
hurt.
understand. Yes, I understand.
And I've had a couple of homeowners over there call me about this, because you took down all the trees that was blocking it.
Correct.
And now it's wide open.
Correct. And what I need to do is I need to get with the state to make sure they got their permits for them ponds, because erosion control, I don't think it's up to date.
Yeah, well, they've been there for 50 years, so I don't know.
So I need to investigate that. But,
All right, that was my main
But we agreed
concern.
on with Mr. Jones and that, to move them lots around, make them bigger, and put the fences up as we build the houses, which will be a fence. So the people that build the house will have a fence so their kids can't get out. But I understand what you're saying. Right now, kids run up and down them hills with four-wheelers.
That's right, and I call the law on them too.
So I can't control that. I like to keep them out of there, but I can't.
Yeah. All right, so you're saying the houses are going to be bigger than what's
2,000,
actually on the plot?
2,000 to 2,200.
The PUD, right?
Correct.
Mr. Jim, can we get that changed into the, make sure this is in the minutes that they are going to the minimum
sir,
of
it will.
2,000?
Yes, sir.
Let me think about that a minute, because I think my grandson said they're gonna build 18, and then they do the upstairs is 400 or 500, which they're all gonna do the upstairs, so I think it starts at 18 and ends up at 22.
That's fine.
But everybody does the upstairs, because
That's
everybody wants.
heated space, right?
Correct,
Before the garage.
correct.
Okay.
So, let me correct it, I'm gonna say it's 18 to 22, because they're gonna do 18 down, and then it's 400 or 500 upstairs, and then they're all gonna do the upstairs, because everybody wants it.
Mayor.
Mr. Jim, you have Mr. Ryder's information as to home, I'm sure. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Alderman Young?
Thank you, sir. The streets, how wide are they?
30,
30-foot curb to curb. Do we have sidewalks that are ADA accessible?
both sides, ADA
Thank you, sir.
accessible,
And in the codes as well?
correct.
Anything else? Anyone else have any questions, comments? Mr. Bob, did you have any more, sir?
No, I just wanted to make sure I let you know the houses are gonna be bigger.
That's very good news. Thank you so much, Mr. Ryder.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Is there any more discussion? Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Bostic.
I'd like to make a motion to approve case number 1952, subdivision, Nicole Place, Section E, final plat approval.
We have a motion by Alderman Bostic. Do we have a second to the motion?
Second.
Second by Alderman Bledsoe. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Aye. Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Thank you for the nice development, Mr. Bob. Thank you. All right, we're down on number 6, new business. Mr. Stacy Dye, would you please step forward, sir? All right.
Good evening, everyone.
Yes, sir.
So we are looking to have a 5K run, probably a walk run in Latimer Park. As many of you all know, we started the Hope Center here years ago. We had some good things happen. We had some tough times. COVID shut us down for a while. COVID, we were operating in the schools, the DeSoto County schools. And we actually did 30 Saturdays a row in South Haven Middle. And we'd probably done about 70 events so far. But most of you probably also know that N'Kobe Dean, the Horn Lake football star from Georgia, gave us a very generous donation. And so we're going to bring that money back to Horn Lake. A lot of that money is going to come back here and invest in the at-risk youth. We are this close to becoming a silver affiliate with the Memphis Grizzlies. And so we're going to start with a 5K just to raise a little bit of money, just to get our name back out there, just to show everybody what we're doing. And we are meeting tomorrow with First Baptist Pastor Tim to start maybe doing a couple of events in his church. We have an event over in Trinity Church. We're going to do a 5K in South Haven. We're ready to get the energy going. We're ready to get get back with these kids and put this money back where it belongs, and that's helping the kids. We want to be a positive source of energy in the community. We want to serve you at Horn Lake. We're trying to serve you also through Vertava Health and different things with the first responders and things like that. But I just wanted you to know that we want to get back started and get back in investing in the community. We're going to work with the schools. We're hoping the schools open back up hopefully in March. That's just something that we're hoping. So we can get back in the gyms. We're probably going to go into Horn Lake High and wherever they'll approve us to come in. But right now we want to get started with this. So.
Well, we're so proud to have you back and proud of what you and your people have done and accomplished. And congratulations on your book.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes,
and
sir.
I know, looking at the packet, all the insurance requirements have been met, hadn't they, Mr. Drew?
Yes, sir. All the insurance requirements have been met.
Did you have any comments about this event before Mr. Dodd or the board?
No, sir. I spoke to Mr. Dodd about it, and I think it's a great idea. I think it'll be good for the community.
Does anybody have any questions or comments? Alderman Young.
Will there be oxygen stations periodically for big guys like that?
Yeah, actually there will be. I will let you know that we're hiring a race planner to professionally plan it and handle all those things. So we'll probably also have security and different things like that. On most of our events, we're going to hire security and just make it really, really professional and really, very, very, we're going to operate with integrity and excellence. So.
Well, I'm sure it'll be first class with you. Chief Rowell, Chief Limble, do y'all have any concerns about this event? Okay. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Alderman Bostic.
Is there a rainout date in case something happens in the weather that weekend?
Is there what now?
Is there a rainout date?
No, but I can ask Patricia to put that on the flyer.
Well, I know Drew may be coming up with baseball tournaments too, so this is not going to cause any conflict on that date or a rainout date. I guess he'll have to get with you.
Yes, sir. That day is good.
Okay, cool.
Any more discussion?
Mayor,
Alderman Dupree.
I just want to say thank you for what you do for the community. You're doing all that work, and it's very inspiring, and we appreciate you very much.
Well, thank you, and I'm really excited to see all of you here and all the great things I'm hearing about the future of Horn Lake. I'm excited about that too. This is where everything started for the Hope Center. It started at a coffee break and with Verena Hopper, and we haven't given up, and we're not going to give up. But the goal is the kids, and the goal is to see Horn Lake just be the best it can be.
Thank you, sir, very, very much. Do we have a motion?
Mayor.
Alderman Boston.
I'd like to make a motion to request the use of Latimer Lakes Park for the Hope Community Center to host a 5K run on April the 2nd, 2022 from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m.
We have a motion by Alderman Boston. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Alderman Dupree. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Aye. Alderman Klein.
Aye. Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Thank you, Mr. Stacy.
Thank you all.
Mayor.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
all y'all
much.
do.
Thank you for having it
question.
here.
Mayor, I got one question.
Alderman Dupree.
Will animals be allowed to come with their owners? Can they walk? Or is
What's
it
that now?
Animals.
the dogs? Will they be able to come with the walkers or the runners?
Sure.
There's your answer, AJ.
We want anybody to be able to participate. I mean, I'm going to go to the schools and try to get, the students that are in track and everything. And we always do a walk run for people that can't, run and different things like that. It's more about the community and just doing, spending time together and us getting together than it is about money or anything, or winning, things like that. But yeah, we'll let them come. And I'll get with Tricia on the rain date. Do I need a date for that rain date? Through the Parks Department?
Just get with me. I'll go over my baseball schedule, but.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you, sir. All right, letter C.
B.
Oh, B, all right. Letter B, do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Mayor, Vince has something to add to that.
All right, Mr. Malavasi.
Yeah, Mayor, but before you make the motion there, I would like to add that there needs to be, prior to this payment, we need to do a summary change order, which basically adjusts the original contract quantities to what was actually installed. And that summary contract decreases the contract amount by $1,720.43. So we'll need a motion to approve the summary change order for that decrease.
Take off the 1,700 on 153.
1720.43.
Yeah, but take it off the 153,779.
No.
Is that?
No,
All right.
sir. No, sir. This
Okay,
changes.
with the change order, it led to 153,779.
That's right.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I think we
Mr.
can
Billy.
do it all in one motion. We'll approve the change order and the final payment.
All right. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Motion? We have a motion?
yes, Mayor.
Alderman Bostic.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the request for the pay estimate number 6 to Excavators, Inc. for the 2-lane bridge replacement in the amount of $153,779.55, and with the change that Vince of $1,720.43.
We have a motion by Alderman Bostic. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Bledsoe. Do we have any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Now, letter C. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Dupree.
make the motion to request to approve the purchase of Diamond mower steeder, 60-inch rotary cutter, stock number H00091138.
We have a motion by Alderman Dupree. Do we have a second to the motion?
Mayor.
Alderman Young.
Second.
Second by Alderman Young. Do we have any discussion? Alderman Bledsoe.
Is this replacing the mower or?
No, it's, we bought the skid steer back in August, and the mower was out 8 to 12 weeks. So it was gonna be on a different budget. So this will be for, it'll be a lot easier to cut ditches and get to the places that have been able to get to. Big mower.
What happened to the one we had that had the arm on it that let down?
It'll speed up, that was real slow, because everywhere you cut, you have to move.
Okay.
The skid steer can just go and it'll do it.
Well, we still got that one, what I'm getting at. So now we have two.
Right.
Mayor,
Alderman Klein.
is this one of those that actually cuts small trees and that it'll actually clear? Yeah, okay. Thank you, sir.
Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Campbell.
just want to clarify, is this the one that's on the John Deere purchase order for $12,118.73? Okay.
All right, we had a motion by Alderman Dupree. Did we get a second?
Alderman Young.
Alderman Young, all right. Motion by Alderman Dupree, second by Alderman Young. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Letter D. I think these are the ladies that came before us earlier, requesting the board to authorize the purchase of some tubas. Would y'all ladies come, Miss Anderson? If y'all, when you get to the podium, if y'all would give your name and address to Mr. Robinson again, sure would appreciate it.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Anderson, and I'm with the Horn Lake Band Booster.
Deborah Clark, and I'm one of the moms with the Horn Lake Band. I live at Linfield Cove.
Do you have their addresses from the last meeting, Mr. Jim, or do you need them?
Miss Anderson's, I do.
Sir?
Miss Anderson's, I do.
Okay.
I couldn't understand Miss Clark.
Miss Clark.
3460 Linfield Cove.
All right, just to refresh everyone's memory, would you just give us a brief summary of what you requested the last time, please?
Absolutely. I didn't realize I was going to be speaking tonight, but I'm more than happy to. We came and requested some funds for some marching tubas for our following coming up season, and I believe the request was for $15,000. I don't have my paperwork in front of me, but I want to say that the tubas, I wish I'd have brought it, I apologize. The tubas were $6,300 a piece. I apologize. Thank you very much. Yes. You know, we're just, unfortunately with COVID last year, we were unable to fundraise. We weren't allowed to. So we're in the process of fundraising and trying to catch up with that. Along with the tubas, we're also trying to fundraise to purchase new uniforms because the uniforms are at expense of the band and the school. You know, the tubas are a school instrument. It's not something that the students have to purchase themselves. There are certain instruments that the students purchase themselves, and then there's some that the school provides. And tubas just happen to be one of the larger expenses, and we're horribly in need of it. I mean, if anyone were to come and watch the band play, you'll see that a lot of our tubas are dinged up, they're dented. Some of our instruments, you know, our xylophones, we've had to get new wheels for. Our podiums, we've had to purchase new wheels for those as well. It takes quite a bit to run a band program on top of the instruments themselves, along with feeding the children, traveling with the children, Friday night lights, you know, we're out there performing for them. Saturdays, we've got competitions in practice, traveling for competitions, marching in, you know, like the Veterans Day Parade, and just things of those natures.
Y'all really looked good and sounded good at the Veterans Day Parade.
Thank you, yes.
I saw that.
They are some hard-working children. I sit out there with them for band camp, and they're out there for 8 hours a day in the scalding heat of July, you know, and they go to school all day. They practice 2 to 3 to 4 hours a day, 3 days a week during school, in August, in the heat, on the pavement, you know, out on the field when they have to practice out on the field. So, I mean, they're a great, wonderful group of kids.
Did I understand you say y'all will get new uniforms?
We are working to try and get new uniforms. I've been in the band program now. This is my 5th year. In the high school band program, excuse me. My children also did middle school as well. And we've had the same uniforms since I've been in the program, you know. So they're kind of in need of new uniforms, and that is the expense of the band. Like, the band pays for that part of it. To try and get the children to pay for it, it wouldn't be something that the children could afford.
Does the school board contribute any money to the band for the program?
They do. I unfortunately don't have those numbers on me. I didn't realize I was going to be speaking tonight, or I would have been more than happy to attain those for you.
Does the school board give an equal amount to each school? Or is that not a fair question?
That is something that I wouldn't know. That would be more of my band director's question, not the band booster.
I was just curious. I just wanted to make sure we received,
right,
that our students received the same as the other
Listen,
schools?
we have fought time and time again for Horn Lake to receive.
Ma'am?
I said, we fought time and time again for Horn Lake students to receive equal and fair opportunities as a lot of the other schools in the county.
Well, I certainly appreciate all the band boosters do, and I know all
Yes.
the board does, because you're out there cooking hamburgers and.
Cooking hamburgers, making, in the summertime, the band booster parents got together and they made ham and cheese sandwiches to feed the kids for band camp, so the kids wouldn't have to worry about it. We also have taken on feeding them for any band competitions and any football games, because, you know, the last thing we want is for a kid to be out there trying to play their instrument in March after several hours of practice and not have a full belly. Because it happens, you know, some kids don't always have the resources to provide themselves something to eat, and or they get forgetful and they leave their lunch at the house, you know.
Yes, sir. Well, you know, all of us are tremendously proud of the band, but, you know, that's quite a lot of money.
I understand.
That is quite a lot of money.
It is.
And the funding for that particular avenue of money, we're going to have to go see if we can get it renewed. It might be ending come July.
Right. I
Without the
remember that
support
part of
of
our
all the-
discussion.
If everybody would get on the phone and call our representatives and senators and any others you know, so that program could stay alive, it would be beneficial to all the citizens, not just in the band, but in the schools, but throughout the community.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have any questions or comments
I
from
do,
Ms.
Mayor.
Anderson and Ms. Clark?
I do, Mayor.
Alderman Dupree.
Last time we spoke, you were asking for, I think, 4 tubas? Was it 4? And we ended up giving you 2, agreeing for 2, because you had actual funding and donors for the others.
So we have fundraised. We've already started fundraising, and I don't have the numbers on me. Just like I said, I wasn't aware that I was going to be speaking tonight.
We approved as a board to give you 2.
I think it was pinned. There was nothing approved when I came last time. That's why it was to be rediscussed today.
Was it 1?
No, we just
Yeah,
Okay,
it
we
was a table
discussed
discussion,
to-
yeah.
Let me rephrase. We discussed to give you 1 because you had the other, or 2 because you had the funding.
I
for
want to
the
say
other
that
2.
we've raised enough for 1.5. Yeah, and then we were coming and asking for the 2.5, is if memory serves
Right,
me
I think
correct.
we ended up saying something like 10,000. Is that right? I think
We discussed
10,000.
we discussed 10,000.
Yeah, and the uniforms is new to us, so we didn't know anything about it tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Have you got any numbers on that?
I don't have any numbers on me at the moment. Like I said, I wasn't aware that I was going to speak tonight, or I would have been more than happy to bring anything and provide that information for you. I apologize on that.
Okay.
Alderman Bledsoe.
On your fundraiser, do y'all think about getting with the basketball coach? Years ago, when I was working with them, you get with the basketball coach, and we used to put on a big basketball tournament for, I guess, adults or whoever that can play, and you get a bunch of teams. The band helped in the athletic department, and when we got there, we had quite a bit of money. And when we got through, we give half to the athletic department and half to the band department.
That's a fantastic idea. I will definitely get with the band
You
coach
might
on that
wanna
one.
get
I
with
will
him
not.
and see, 'cause
I am
that's-
always open to all suggestions when it comes to fundraising, but yes, I'll definitely get with the
But the
band
main
coach.
thing is, the band works and the athletic department works. That way, y'all don't have to do all the work. It kind of ended up, we end up doing all the work, but,
Yeah.
That's a good fundraiser.
I'll talk to the basketball coach about it.
Does anyone, Alderman Klein?
Well, as you know, we have 2 high schools within the city limits. So what we do for one high school, we must be prepared to do for the other if they come before us. So I think anytime that we approve something like this, we need to be ready to be equally fair to the other high school.
Alderman Bostic.
We only have 1 in the city limits. We help another one. The kids go to that school, but we only have 1 high school in the city limit.
Alderman Young.
The high school people are the future of this city. They're the ones that's going to be sitting up here someday. Yeah, it's a lot of money, but we spend a lot of money. We spend a lot of money on other things we probably shouldn't spend money on. I'd come up with a couple ideas in my head real quick we shouldn't have spent money on. I would think that this would be a no-brainer. Mr. Jim, do we have enough money in the fund to support 2 tubas?
In your board packet, yeah, under the Economic Development Fund, you'll see you got $35,077.77.
So we could do 2 tubas, and I would work to help you personally. I will bring you a fundraiser that you can do the rest of it, and I'll help you get the rest of it.
I wouldn't turn you down, I promise.
Hope.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. Thank you.
Thank
you. I appreciate it.
We're solving the problems
absolutely.
that we have in front of us. So I bring a motion before the board that we would support 2 tubas of $6,300 each for a total of $12,600 to support the Horn Lake High School band.
I'll second that, Mayor.
We have a motion by Alderman Young. We have a second by Alderman Bostic. Is there any discussion?
Mayor.
Alderman Geis.
I checked with someone that would know, and county school board gives each high school the same amount of money for the band, and then the band has to raise the rest. So.
Well, it's good to know they all get the same amount. Thank you for doing that.
Yes, it's very good.
Anyone else have any comments or questions?
Mayor.
Alderman Johnson, I was going to ask you what you thought about this.
Yes, sir. Just looking at the Economic Development Hotel Motel Fund sheet that we did get, looking at what we gave other organizations there at the school, it is less than what Alderman Young just offered. So that does concern me with the amount. Again, it's a little higher than what we've given to other people at the school. So that is a concern.
Thank you, ma'am. As you know, we've discussed, I played in the Horn Lake Band, so I was just
The clarinet, I remember.
Right.
I do.
But you're asking for more than we gave to the football team. And Alderman Klein brought up a good point, and Alderman Bostic cleared it up. Even though Lake Comert is not in our city limits, a lot of our students do go there. And what I'm thinking is we might see somebody else come in asking for the same amount of money for Lake's Comert School. So I just don't want things to snowball. Do you understand what I'm trying to clumsily get through?
I fully understand.
By the way, to date myself, one of the things they used to have for fundraisers was donkey basketball games. Yeah, you had to ride the donkey and get thrown all over the place, trying to play basketball.
We did that also, sir.
Ma'am?
We did that also when I was in high school.
Hurt, didn't it, when you fall on that donkey? Okay, but I have no more questions or comments. Is anyone else on the board that has a question? Ms. Johnson? Alderman Johnson?
Yes, sir.
In reference to your remarks, would you think it was fair to give the band the same amount as the football team?
I would say it would be fair to give them that amount, or, with our current state, even less, but certainly, I would agree to that, but I do not agree with the 12 paying for 2 tubas. I don't agree with that. We certainly do know that you are definitely a 5-star band, and we do know the cost that it does take for parents, for students, and for you all. Certainly, as you are over different groups and clubs, a lot of money does, I'm sure, come out of your pocket. And I do understand that, but we do have to be mindful, as we've said before, to watch our spending. And, what if someone else comes from the high school and say, okay, you gave the band this, and certainly the football players, the football club team could come back and say, well, we'd like to have more as well. So we definitely just want to be fair in what we're giving.
Mayor,
Alderman Dupree.
what was it, how much did we give the touchdown club? How much did we give them, 15?
10,000.
It was 10, and we gave the choir 10?
Yes.
Okay, so to be fair, it would be 10, correct? But, I mean, it's only, not only, $2,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But $2,000 would save them on doing a whole lot of fundraising, and if we have it, why not help them? And I understand we're gonna have to look at the future, but, you know, it's a case-by-case, vote, so, I mean, if it's a whole, then yes, it would be 10, so on, but, you know, we got other folks that come in that need more of assistance than others. So I think, $2,000, would be fair.
Alderman Young.
When was the last time the band boosters were set before this committee and asked for any money?
None that I'm aware of.
Never?
Not that I'm aware of. I've only been really in the booster for about 2 years, so
Does
not in the
anybody on
past
the
2
board
years.
know when the last time was the band boosters come here and asked for some money?
I've never seen them before.
But yet we got other agencies that come here every year and ask for $10,000. They come up here one time and ask for help, and we're debating over $2,600. We have a motion and a second, by the way.
I know that we're having a discussion on it.
Mayor.
Alderman Geis.
Just a little perspective, unless it's changed since this person was involved in it, the county budget for the band every year is only $22,000 at each school. So these tubas cost anywhere from $6,000 or more. So just buying 4 or 5 for the band would eat up the whole budget for the band for 1 year. So I don't know what the football budget is, but I'd be willing to bet it's probably bigger than the band. So it may be the same, I don't know, but.
Alderman Bledsoe.
I have a solution. Maybe we can give them 12,000 this year. When they come back next year, or if they do come back, you give them 8 instead of 10, and then they get their tubas. Hey.
Anyone else have any questions or comments?
That's a good idea.
I didn't know you could do math like that, Tommy.
Jethro, 1 and 1.
I graduated from Horn Lake.
Hey, you graduated from Horn Lake.
We have a motion by Alderman Young. We have a second by Alderman Bledsoe, Bostic.
She has a question.
Is there any more discussion?
Raise your hand, man.
The motion is for $12,600, right, sir?
If we don't come back for another 5 years, can we just have the whole 10 again? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sir.
There's that can of worms.
You had to just barge right in there, didn't you? We have Alderman Bledsoe.
Can we make that part of the motion that we give them the 12 this year, and if they come back next year, you give them the 8?
Well, we don't know if we're gonna have the
We don't know
hotel
if we're gonna
motel.
have those funds.
We don't know if we're gonna have the funds.
We don't give it to anybody.
I mean,
Good try, y'all have really got,
you got the,
I know he's really trying for you, but we,
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
I think we agreed to change up how we do the distribution of that money starting next budget.
Yes, sir. We did.
So that won't be an issue.
won't be this year.
We have a motion and a second. The motion is to give the band boosters $12,600 for them to purchase 2 tubas.
2 tubas.
If it's less, we will receive the rest, or the balance back, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. A motion and a second for 2 tubas, $12,600. Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Nay.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 opposed. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for the work you do for the board. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. What are the new uniforms going to look like?
That would be a band director question as well. He has presented pictures. I just don't have any on hand.
I use that a lot. I'll say that's a lawyer question. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're moving down to citizens' remarks. Miss Millian Jeffries. Mr. Jim, did you get the lady's address and everything off of here? Do you need it? No. Okay. Hi, Miss Jeffries.
Hello, this is my first time ever coming to anything
Well,
like
don't be nervous. Just come on up here and talk to us.
Okay,
Can you speak in the mic, please? Thank you.
I've been staying in Horn Lake for about 10 years now, but I was staying in the Shadow Oaks. Now I moved over there to Kingston West, and I stay on Cliffwood Drive. The speeding through there is ridiculous, and all the school buses meet up right there on Cliffwood Drive.
Excuse me for interrupting. Could you might want to bend that mic closer to us. You've got a nice, soft voice, and we can't hear you very well up here.
Okay, I done moved to the Kingston West, and it's like the speeding in the area is ridiculous. I stay in the corner house right by the Kingston West sign. I have 3 kids, and 2 of them are small kids. I have a 5-year-old that's autistic. My kids, when I stayed on the other side of Horn Lake, they played outside, so we stayed in the cove. I moved over there, I wonder why none of the kids played outside. They said the speeding. I'm talking about the cars come through there, skirt, skirt, until they be on 2 wheels coming through there. That's dangerous for kids outside playing, and sidewalks are only on one side. So I'm coming here to ask speed bumps. Speed bumps, I'm talking about they're coming through their way too fast, and then they're coming off. I know when I first moved over here, we didn't have the super Walmart, and we didn't have as much traffic. And it's like, even though it's only a 2-line road right there, the Horn Lake Road, the traffic is so busy right there. And when they're turning off them side streets, they're going fast. So I'm asking for speed bumps.
We can't do speed bumps because it slows down the response of the emergency vehicles, and plus with so much electronic equipment on them, if you go over them fast, it just bangs it up. But there's the police chief right now, and I know he was listening to every word you said. Mm-hmm. Do you think, Chief, that you have since you're getting some new recruits here coming in, you could kind of keep an eyeball on that for Ms. Jeffries, see if we can slow them down over there?
Yes, sir, we'll definitely put some extra emphasis on that area. Also, make sure we get Cliffwood, or I know we've had the speed trailer out on Brighton before, but not the north side of the subdivision, so we'll work on getting our speed trailer over there as well.
Yes, sir. Did anyone have any questions or comments for Ms. Jeffries?
Mayor.
Alderman Young.
All I can ask you to do, ma'am, is every time that happens, or you see that or whatever, call the police department. Mm-hmm. That's where they gather their data from to know where they need, just like you're talking about, to do additional enforcement, or maybe put that speed sign up or whatever. But just make sure you call them and you don't have to call them 911. There's a non-emergency number. But that's where they get their ideas and their patrolling from. I mean, it's all over the town. It's not just to you, but I do feel your pain. I hear it every night.
Yeah. And thank you so much. Like what you said, I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm supposed to applaud or not. When you was talking about the city spending so much money on other things, but when it comes to school and these kids, I feel like a lot of them don't give this same effort. It's like, thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, we have some new officers coming on, and when they get out in their patrol cars, I'm sure the chief will disperse them out to where they're needed, and I believe we're going to do some good here in the next few months.
Thank you so much for listening to me. I greatly appreciate y'all.
May I ask a favor of you, ma'am? Yes. If you would, a lot of times the speeders are come through at a certain time of day. When they get out of school, when they get off work. So when you're watching, if you notice there's a pattern of the time, it would really, I think, be of assistance to the police department.
It's about between 5 and 7 o'clock, because this when we get home and my kids are outside playing. And it's like, if you drive through the neighborhood, until my kids move there, the kids are never outside. But it's like coming from Bentley Cove, it's like that's all the kids did outside is play. But over there, it's no kids out. They was like, they coming through too fast, and they're scared. And by me having a 5-year-old that's artistic, keeping him in the house is not an option. And it's like, so it's like I'm trying to pull the kids outside to play. And then when this young man was talking, the obesity rate is just out of control. And that's like this because they're not outside playing. And I want to thank him. I went to one of his walks and I did my first 5K with his program. I was 700 pounds. So I got outside and started moving and walking. And that was one of the things on my bucket list. So it's like coming here today, I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing. And I feel like how sometimes God put things in your path. And I feel like coming here, listen to this young man, this to this, in the band boosters. I was like, it was amazing because I was also in the band in school. Got a full scholarship, don't have student loans, you know?
Where?
I don't have student loans. I was in Westwood band in Memphis, Tennessee. We had the best band. We played for the president and everything.
Booker T? Is that where it was?
No, Westwood High School. Okay. And we went to the Macy's Day Parade. We was all over the news. I ain't gonna tell my age, but you know, they've been a minute. And it's like, thanks to the band, I don't have student loans. I went to school for free.
That's quite an honor to be in the Macy's Day Parade.
Yes, we was in the Macy's Day Parade, and we have been, it's like being in the band, I have went places and seen things that my family couldn't afford. I played for President Clinton. He played the saxophone, so did I. It's like, it was amazing. The thing that the band did for me, I couldn't have not done without the band. And so it's like, though I say, how God put things in your path, the speeders put coming to this meeting in my path. And it's like, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. And like I say, no student loans.
Thank you so much. And I have a feeling that Ms. Clark and Ms. Anderson bought you here. Is that true?
No. I'm just saying, I have none. And then I went to Jackson State University, played in their band, no student loans. They came and sunk us out. It's like how they said the band is good. When you have a good band, these colleges, they come and seek you out. And I played more than one instrument. Like she was talking about the xylophones being regular. I played the xylophone concert season. I did concert, I did marching band, and I did small jazz ensemble. And it's like, there's a skill that these kids can take with them throughout, even when they leave college. It's like they have small little bands where they get together, they perform at weddings. Downtown on Beale Street making money. It's like learning them instruments, they're gonna be able to feed their families.
Well, thank you. There's really a 3-minute limit
I'm sorry.
on
I'm sorry. Y'all have a nice day.
Go ahead and preach on. Go ahead.
Thank you, Ms. Jeffries. Thank you so much. All right. Man, going on down, number 8.
Mayor.
Alderman Johnson.
Pardon me again, the interruption. I want to see if Ms. Jeffries, if there's actually a sign out by her home to warn the citizens that are coming through that there's an autistic child in that area.
No, I didn't know it was. I also have a child the old terminology
I don't think Alderman Johnson could hear you. Alderman Johnson, Ms. Jeffries said no, there was not a sign down there. Are you suggesting maybe a sign would help too, ma'am?
Yes, sir. I definitely am suggesting that would help in her area as well as far as speeding. I would hope seeing that sign would slow some people down.
Mr. Gary, Mr. Gary said he'd get a sign up there. All right, you got her address? All right, yes, sir. I got it right there. Alderman Johnson, Mr. Gary's getting her name and address, and he said he's already has it written down.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, and thank you again, Ms. Jeffries. All right, moving on down to number 8. All right. I've got two agendas. I've got the old one. Let me make sure. All right. The first one, as you know, we're asking for the hotel motel fee. I don't look at it as a tax. They call it a tax. I don't look at it, but we're asking for it to be extended by the state legislature. It's going to be an uphill battle, but the resolution that was adopted by this board on the 1st of January of 22 is going to be placed in the hopper down in Jackson in the Senate by Senator David Parker. We certainly thank him for that. And in the House, it'll be in the hopper by Representative Jeff Hale, who supported us in the past also. We certainly thank him. But those are going to be presented. The wheels are turning. Normally local and private, I think, Mr. Campbell, you said nothing normally come, excuse me, to the end of the session. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
So we have got to do some, well, politicking is what we got to do, at least the letter B. Clearwater Group lobbyist. As you know, we've got our hotel motel fee resolution down there, hoping we can get it extended. Also, we have ARPA money and there is infrastructure money coming down. This is a new ball game with the infrastructure money and ARPA. Nobody's been through it before, and it seems like everything changes every time you turn around, it seems like. As Alderman Bledsoe enjoys pointing out, I'm elderly, and I remember when I was much younger, the old politicians used to say there was two states of Mississippi, Jackson South and up here. Excuse me. So I'm concerned that we get what we are entitled to get our fair share. But as I said, this is a new ball game for everybody concerned. The other cities in the county and the Board of Supervisors are going to hire lobbyists, and they asked us to participate, or the Clearwater Group, to push the items that the county wants out of the infrastructure money. Excuse me, got choked. Which is the broadband, Highway 51, and Interstate 55. Plus we, Horn Lake, have our own set. Hopefully we can use this lobbyist group on our hotel motel. Then we've got our other projects, the sewer and the infrastructure on the water system over at Twin Lakes. We didn't get this information until today about the board passing, the Board of Supervisors passing to hire this group. Our share of it will be $700 a month for 15 months. That'd be $10,500. And the reason it's 15 months is to carry it through this legislative session and through the next one, if it needs to be. We, and any participating municipality or the county government, can step back from it with a 30-day notice at any time. And what I respectfully ask the board to do is support this move by the county government and by the other cities in this county to stay on top of this and keep us informed and work for us to get our fair share of this money. Does anyone have any questions or comments? This group was recommended by Supervisor Caldwell. He's familiar with them. Mr. Jim went down to that midwinter conference and happened to run into another group and this one, and he said there's pros and cons with each one. Did you have anything to say about the Clearwater group? Maybe we shouldn't get them, Mr. Jim?
No, Mayor, we met with both groups, and they are both eager, ready, willing, and able to help with all the issues. Each municipality and the county both kind of spelled out some different things. I did bring up the Horn Lake Interceptor sewer issue. I think it's, and I did state that it's a little little past that stage for them to be involved, because it's already, really can't be lobbied that much. But I did bring up Highway 51 and widening that, and Interstate 55, and also our hotel motel. And they were both groups were familiar with those legislations. We did talk a little bit about the ARPA funds, but both groups were eager to get started and very familiar with DeSoto County. Both have ties with DeSoto County, and I think it's a great move. Several illustrations were thrown out in some of the meetings, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but they said this is the time. It's like having a rich grandmother passing away. There's a lot of money out there with all the ARPA funds, and we needed to have a voice down in Jackson to be able to take advantage of some of those funds out there.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Flanagan with the Economic Council also said a united front would be much more effective down in Jackson. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Alderman Young.
The Clearwater Group is like having a five-legged dog in a race. They're going to give you that advantage. The future development of the city, they can lobby that. Economics for the city, as you talk about ARPA money. Infrastructure deals, things that are going on. We're looking at the dog up there. I mean, they can get involved in these kind of things. Constant contact they give us with the Capitol and the people in the Capitol. When Jim and I and Mr. Klein and Mr. Dupree were down there the other day, there must have been 10 or 12 of those people running around in the Capitol, and they were talking to each and every representative and senator. Now, I understand the word lobbyist. People go, ooh, well, if we want to play ball in the big boy world, we need somebody like this. If for nothing else, the government available funds that are coming down that they can help us disseminate as to what we need to go in what direction we need to do. Just like you said, we're in uncharted waters, and Horn Lake is moving into those uncharted waters with all our future developments that we're looking at and all the planning that we're doing. So I can't think of a negative for not hiring the Clearwater Group. If I can vote twice, I will.
Anyone else have any questions or comments? Alderman Bostic.
Yeah, where will this money come out of our budget?
The economic development funds is typically where we've paid that, because they will be doing things that will, grow the city. A lot of people don't like the word lobbyist, but we talked about it in the meetings. It's almost like having a staff person down there. It takes way too long to drive down to Jackson, and they would be our staff person there every day. Sending messages back of they're looking at these bills today, and they'll be feeding us information on all the bills throughout all the sessions and being our voice, our staff person down there. But it'd be economic development, 10,500.
Also, will they be reporting back to you, Mayor, on their progress of what they got
Yes,
going
sir,
on?
they will, and of course, as soon as I get anything, I'll definitely get it to y'all. I look on a lobbyist. For a long time, I had the wrong interpretation of them, as Alderman Young said. Now, I look on them more or less as a technician, that we set the policies, and the lobbyists are the ones down there putting the thing together, putting the bolts and screws in there. This is what we want. Talk to the legislators, see if this can be accomplished. I know that when I was in the liquor business, we had a lobbyist. Because just like Mr. Jim pointed out, if we didn't have one, what would be our expenses going up and down the road, spending the night, eating, the whole 9 yards down there. By all the cities in the county going together, we're getting 15 months for $10,500. And we just spent more than that on 2 tubas.
Yes.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Do we have a motion?
Mayor.
Alderman Young.
I make a motion that we adopt the resolution of Senator Parkland and Representative Jeff Hale and bring the Clearwater Group on as our liaison between the city of Horn Lake and the Capitol, and work as our definitive group in lobby.
Second.
So we have a motion, what, for 10,500 by Alderman Young, second by Alderman Klein. Alderman Johnson, did you have anything?
No, sir, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Anybody else? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Thank you very much, Alderman. All right, next is number 9, Department Head Correspondence. Chief Ryle, did you have anything, sir?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have anything tonight.
Anybody have questions for Chief Ryle? I would really encourage you, I know it was late getting the packet, but if you would really look at the numbers, comparing the years over the last decade, congratulations, Chief.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations to you and your department. Mr. Gary, you have anything, sir?
No, sir, I don't have anything.
Anybody have questions, Mr. Gary?
I do.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Gary, that pipe y'all got laying on the ground over there at Chelsea, is that our project, or? Okay, I got a phone call, the guy said the pipes are not big enough. So I just thought I'd pass it on. Oh, okay, well, I'm just passing on.
Anyone else?
I do, Mayor.
Alderman Dupree.
I got a phone call from a guy that lives on Church Road. He says that when you turn the pipes on, I don't know what that means, but there's a pumping station or some hoses or something coming from Twin Lakes pushing down toward Church Road. Are you familiar with that? He says it smells like sewage a lot. I'll get with you later about it, because I'm going to meet him tomorrow. All right. Well, when I meet with him, I'll let you know.
Anyone else? Chief Limble, thank you and the fire department for that excellent report too. Every department, everybody, just really been working hard. Thank you. You have anything for the board, Chief?
I don't have anything, Mayor.
Anybody got questions?
Chief Linville?
Yes.
You get my bail on that new truck?
We're working on it.
Thank you, sir.
Did you say a bell?
Yeah.
Oh.
He asks about it every meeting.
Oh, okay. Anyone else? Mr. Colbert, did you have anything for the board, sir?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board. I just want to say thank you, Mr. Dodd, for coming out tonight. Appreciate that. I don't have anything else to relay tonight, sir.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Vance or comments?
Mayor.
Alderman Young.
Is there something going on out there on Halloween, fireworks shooting or something? Have you heard anything about that?
I just found out about it tonight. I've not heard of any details or who's running it or.
So they hadn't even.
What was that?
There's a fireworks. Somebody wanted to do something on Valentine's or something with fireworks or something in the park. There's a rumor going. I don't know. That's why I was asking if there'd been a permit.
We've never had that.
There's not. Nobody has contacted me about any type of event that day.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Well, if you do, please tell them to come before the board before you give them approval or not. If you would, please, sir.
Yes, sir. I'll do some research, see who's trying to put this on, and I'll get back with you on that.
I wouldn't publicize it too much. You might encourage them to do it. You know, just be sneaky about it.
No.
Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Drew? Mr. Malavasi, do you have anything, sir?
No, sir, not at this time, Mayor.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Vance?
I do, Mayor.
Alderman Dupree.
Last week when we were down there, I told your company that you needed a raise, and they turned around and looked at me and said that you need to pay them.
Well, that's encouraging, thank you.
He'll just raise his fees to us. You know where that's going to end up.
That doesn't surprise me.
Which remark didn't surprise you, Mr. Vince?
About them telling me that
Oh,
I need to
okay.
pay them.
Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Malavasi? Mr. Chad, do you have anything for the board, sir?
Thank you for the inquiry. Only to thank the board for the approval of the planning commissioners and Mr. Young to attend the training down in Oxford on Thursday this week. It's a good low cost, but looks like a quality opportunity for training for the planning commissioners and anybody else that would like to attend. So I appreciate that.
Thank you for arranging it, and it's going to be so beneficial not only to the planning commission but to the board also. You know, a lot of this will be settled before it gets here. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Chad? Thank you for arranging that. Miss AJ, did you have anything for the board? Anyone have questions for Miss AJ? Mr. Robinson, did you have anything for the board?
I had just placed at your seat just kind of a legislative update for those that went to the MML Midwinter Conference. The last day we had Lieutenant Governor spoke, then the Governor spoke, and then the Speaker of the House spoke, and they all gave us pretty much a legislative update. But you'll see there that the Senate passed the medical marijuana bill. The House had passed the largest tax cut with the income tax proposal to cut the state income tax. And then teacher pay raise, but hopefully we'll have, as you've approved, a lobbyist will be more up to date on a lot of our legislation taking place down in Jackson. But that's some big things happening down there already. They were proud that the first 5 or 6 days of their session they accomplished quite a bit.
Anyone have any questions or comments for Mr. Robinson? Mr. Campbell, did you have anything for the board, sir?
I do not, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Campbell? All right. Do we have a motion to go into closed determination?
Mayor.
Alderman Dupree.
I make a motion.
Oh, Alderman Geis, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'd go into closed determination for executive session.
Do we have a second?
Mayor, I will second that, though.
All right, we have a motion by Alderman Geis, a second by Alderman Dupree. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Ladies and gentlemen, if y'all will excuse us for a few moments, please. Okay, we're back. Hey, Mr. George. How are you, sir? I don't. Anybody in here need Mr. George? No, so should we ask your wife whether she needs you, Mr. George? Should we ask your wife if she needs you? Okay. Okay. All right, do we have a motion to come out of closed determination?
Mayor, I make that motion.
Motion by Alderman Bostic to come out of closed determination. Do we have a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Alderman Bledsoe. Do we have any discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Robinson.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
Mayor.
Alderman Geis.
Make a motion to go into executive session for discussions in personnel matters in the Public Works Department, discussions in personnel matters in the Admin Department, and a discussion regarding the prospective purchase, sale, and leasing of lands.
Do we have a second to the motion by Alderman Geis?
Mayor. Second.
Second by Alderman Young. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Robinson.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Ladies and gentlemen, if you will excuse us, please. We have a motion to come out of executive session.
Mayor, I make that motion.
Motion by Alderman Bledsoe. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Dupree. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Do we have any motions coming out of the executive session?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
I move to hire John Mark Oston on a part-time contract basis for IT assistance on an as-needed basis at the rate of $30 per hour through transition and training of a new IT leadership support specialist.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Klein. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Do we have any other motions?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for January 4th, 2021 Mayor and Board of Aldermen meeting.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second to the
I'll
motion?
second that, Mayor.
Second by Alderman Bostic. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, just.
Yes,
I
Mr.
didn't-
Campbell.
We didn't catch this error, but that should be 2022 instead of 2021.
That is correct.
Thank you, sir.
I amend it to 2022.
Motion amended by Alderman Geis. Is the second still good? Yes, sir. Second still good by Alderman Bostic. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Are there any other motions?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second that, Mayor.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis. We have a second by Alderman Bledsoe. Is there any discussion? Before we adjourn, Mr. John Mark, we're certainly sorry to see you go. We thank you for the tremendous job you've done for this city and all the work you've done in restoring the IT department. And we certainly wish you the best in your new endeavors with DeSoto County, sir. Yes, sir. Stay off I-55. Motion?
Mayor.
Alderman, Mr. Robinson.
Sorry, but we have not recognized his resignation from, because we held it off from last meeting. So we have not recognized that on the minutes. Do we need to do that, Mr. Billy?
Do you have that date? I
thought it was on there.
I thought it was on there at the last one as well.
It was, but it was moved to executive session to.
Oh, we never accepted
discuss.
it.
No, it was never on the actual agenda.
So we haven't accepted, so he can't leave. Is that what?
Yes, his last day is this Friday.
So what do we need to do? Go back and get a motion, Mr. Billy?
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right. Would you withdraw your motion to adjourn, Alderman Geis?
Yes, yes, sir.
And would you withdraw your second, Alderman Bostic?
Yes.
All right. So do we have a motion to accept the resignation of Mr. John Mark Olston, effective
Friday, 1/22.
Yes, the 21st being his last day.
January
So that one's 21.
or February? January?
January.
January the 21st, 2022. Do we have a motion to that effect?
Yes, sir.
No.
I make that motion.
Motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Bledsoe. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye, regretfully.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
It's a slight aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Again, many thanks for all you've done, Mr. John Mark, and the best to you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, we'll make his part-time contract start the following day. It'll be effective the following day.
All right, do we need another motion on
No,
that?
sir. We'll reflect that in the minutes.
Thank you, sir. Alderman Geis, did you still want to make your motion to adjourn?
Oh, the chief, police chief had something.
Oh, Chief Ryle. Thank you, sir. That's just horrible. You know, he went through his surgery this afternoon really quickly. And that is absolutely horrible. Thank you, sir. Alderman Geis, did you have a motion, sir?
Mayor, I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second?
I'll second that, Mayor.
Second by Alderman Bostic. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned. Safe journeys home.